I've scaled Meta ad accounts from $100 in daily spend to over $50,000 in ad spend per day while maintaining or even improving return on ad spend. Most brands see their performance tank when they try to scale. Typically, brands will hit a ceiling around $1,000 a day in ad spend, and whenever they try to push past it, the return on ad spend collapses. But after spending over $330 million on Meta ads, I've developed a scaling system that consistently works time and time again, no matter what level the brand is at, whether at $100 a day, $1,000 a day, or they're looking to go beyond $1,000 a day in ad spend. This scaling system consistently works and performs. And recently, I used this exact approach to scale a brand from $500 a day in spend to over $10K a day in ad spend in less than 60 days, while increasing the return on ad spend from 3x to 5x. So today I'm breaking down my scaling framework that allows you to scale without tanking your performance. All right, but before we dive into the video, if you're like, Mason, I don't want to learn all this stuff, I just want you to help me scale my brand, I can definitely help you with that. Join my coaching program, Meta Ads at Scale, where I give you a 6-month growth plan, giving you exactly what you need to do to scale profitably, and I work with you directly one-on-one. I'll personally guide you through my scaling frameworks, my creative frameworks, and my optimization frameworks so you can scale consistently and stress-free very quickly. And I promise you I can get you results in a fraction of the time it would take you to do this on your own. Typically, brands will get results within the first couple months and hit numbers that would typically take them years. So again, if you're interested in joining Meta Ads at Scale, hit the link below, apply to the program, and we'll get in contact with you. Now let's dive into my framework on how to scale your brand as profitably as possible. First, let's talk about the scaling foundation. Before you even think about scaling, you have to have certain things in place in order for scaling to make sense. So the first thing you need to have in place is a killer pop-up with a killer offer. So I recommend Alia, best pop-up software out there. If you mention me, they'll give you a discount, but use Alia as your pop-up to get 15 to 20% sign-up rates. That's number one. Number two, you need to have all your email marketing flows live. So what does that mean? Your welcome flow, your browse abandon flow, your abandoned checkout flow, abandoned cart flow, your customer win-back flow, your thank you flow, replenishment flows. Really all the basic flows is what you're going to want to have live in order to scale. You don't want to scale without these things because you need to have your ad spend to be backed up by your retention ecosystem. This is so important to scaling. Most people forget about this and they're like, Mason, why can't I scale? Well, bro, you don't have your email marketing automation set up. You only have a few welcome flow emails. No, you need to have it all set up or else your scaling will fall apart from day one. So again, get your email flows set up. And again, in my program, I teach you about all the flows you need to have set up. So let's say you have your pop-up set up, you have all your flows set up. Now it's onto the ad side. What do you need to be seeing in your ad account to start scaling? And so the main thing is we want to see consistent performance. We want to have your core campaigns. Typically, this will be an Advantage Plus, interest campaign. You'll have a testing campaign. These are the 3 campaigns you want to have going, and you need to be seeing consistent performance from these campaigns. What does that mean? You need to be hitting your goal ROAS in platform and on your business consistently. Typically, this means at least a week you're seeing positive return on ad spend. You're profitable. A week at minimum is where you want to be. 2 weeks would be pretty safe. And at that point, you're definitely ready to scale. And what this consistent performance means is that you validated your ICP with the algorithm. The algorithm knows who your ideal customer profile is. They're able to get you consistent return on ad spend that is profitable. So okay, if I increase the spend, I can trust that the algorithm is going to know what customers to go after. Another foundational element that should be in place before you start scaling big time is your creative types. You need to have video ads working and you need to have static ads working as well. You need to have creative diversification. If you're only running video ads, you're only running static ads, you're actually limiting your reach. So it's really important to figure out what is a winning video ad, what is a winning static ad. And once you kind of have these things in place and you can replicate winning ads over and over again, this is another telltale sign that, hey, you're ready to scale, you're ready to start bumping those budgets up. And so now that you got video ads working, got static ads working, now you're probably asking, well, how many creatives should I make per week? So these are the benchmarks that I usually go with. So at a bare minimum, you should be testing 2 creatives a week minimum. So it doesn't matter if you're spending $25 a day, $50 a day, doesn't matter. 2 creatives at minimum a week should be your benchmark. Most brands don't even do this. So you'll be ahead of the game if you're testing at least 2 creatives every single week, ideally with variations. Variations meaning a hook variation, something like that. Now, in order to get to at least 1K a day in ad spend, I recommend testing at least 5 to 10 creatives per week. Again, not all the creatives you're going to be testing are winners, so you need to make sure you're putting up enough volume so you get winning creatives, and those winning creatives are going to be what allows you to scale to that 1K a day in ad spend. Now, say you're at 1K a day in ad spend, you're profitable, and you're like, Mason, I want to get to the next level. What do I do? How many more creatives should I make? This is when I recommend you bump it up to 10 to 30 creatives a week. Again, making that jump from 1K to 10K a day in ad spend is substantial, so you need creative winners to support that ad spend. And for those who are already at 10K a day in ad spend but want to get to the 20, 30, 50K, 100K a day in ad spend, you need to bump up your creative production. You should be making at least 30 creatives a week, ideally with variations, and it's just going to go up from there. If your hit rate's really high, you might not need more than 50 plus creatives a week, depending on your ad spend, depending on your performance. But again, the more the merrier. But remember, we don't want to sacrifice quality for quantity. So just make sure if you are making creative volume, just make sure your data is backing your tests and you're really putting your effort into all your creatives, because testing a bunch of shitty creatives is just a waste of time. So you want to make sure you're testing quality creatives only. And to wrap this scaling foundation up, it's so important that you focus on emotionless inputs that produce outputs, right? So when things are going well, you're going to want to take your foot off the gas, not make a lot of creatives. You should make the same amount of creatives every single week, emotionless, not thinking about performance shouldn't affect how many creatives you make. You just make the same amount every single week. Quality creatives. Again, this is going to allow you to continue to scale profitably and make it to the next level. The biggest mistake most brands make is they hit a winning creative and then they start taking it easy. They stop testing as many creatives as they were before. So no, do not do that. You got to keep your foot on the gas. This is how you continue to scale. Even if you're hitting bangers, even if you're hitting holy grail ads, keep making the creatives emotionlessly, making those inputs, getting those outputs, and I promise you, you're going to be scaling bigger and badder than ever before. Now let's move on to scaling methodology. There's two different methods that I use to scale my brands. First one is the 25% method. This is the most risk averse, the safest way to scale your ad account. This just means you increase your budgets by 25% every time you want to scale. Typically when this is done, you want to wait anywhere from 3 to 7 days to see how the algorithm reacts to this new ad spend. So again, this is a risk averse way. Not to say it's a bad way. You can still scale pretty quickly this way, not as fast as I typically like to scale, but it is a much safer route. And especially if you're spending already 20, 30K a day in ad spend, yeah, bumping your budgets by 25% is still a lot given what your ad spend is currently at. This next method is specifically great for smaller brands who want to scale fast, and this is called the double up method. This is my favorite method, and it's the method that I coined, but essentially the double up method is whenever a campaign is crushing it, specifically on the prospecting side, you're going to double that budget. So if you're spending $100 a day, campaign's crushing it, then you're bumping it to $200 a day. Then you're going to wait from anywhere from 3 to 7 days, still crushing, boom, you double it again, right? And this is how I've scaled brands from literally $0 in ad spend to over 10K a day in 60 days or less by doubling up these budgets. Again, if you're hitting your return on ad spend goals in platform, you're hitting your blended ROAS goals off platform, right? You can keep scaling, and doubling up your budgets is the fastest way to scale. And this is how I scaled Ruggable from $1 million a year to over $500 million a year in under 3 years, because we employed this double up method. Whenever things were going well, we kept doubling budgets. And again, we had a lot of things going in our favor at the time, but if we did not employ the double up method, we would have scaled way slower and would not have become a unicorn startup as fast as we did. So again, if you're looking to scale fast, the double up method is my favorite method. It's typically the method that I deploy at all times, but again, it's not for the faint of heart. If you want more stress-free scaling, you don't want to have to check your ad account every day, the 25% method might be for you. But if you are looking to absolutely scale fast and profitably, the double up method is the premier way to scale. And beyond budget scaling, there's another way to scale. This is called horizontally scaling, and this is by adding additional campaigns that have a purpose. So say you're running a Advantage Plus campaign, you typically have videos and statics in that campaign together. Well, then you could launch a static only campaign, and now you have two campaigns that both can scale and potentially double your ad spend. Or you added influencer whitelisting campaign, right? This adds additional budget. Typically influencer or founder whitelisting ads crush it. So again, boom, that adds another 20 to 30% more in ad spend per day, right? You can add in retargeting, right? Maybe you're not running retargeting because you got scammed by the gurus telling you not to run retargeting. Well, retargeting again can add an extra 10, 20% in ad spend a day. So this is called horizontal scaling, when you add additional campaigns that have a specific purpose. And this is how you really can scale quickly and stress-free as well, because you're diversifying your ad spend and risk across multiple campaigns. This is also great if you're launching new collections or have a bunch of different winning products and you create product-specific campaigns. Again, horizontal scaling is one of my also favorite ways to scale. Again, it doesn't really have anything to do with just doubling the budgets or adding 25% to the budgets, but it does just employ launching new campaigns. And this is super effective way to scale. And most people, they don't think about doing this. They just throw all their ads together in single campaigns. This is one of the best ways to scale. And how do you scale stress-free? Because again, you're diversifying your risk across multiple campaigns. And the more winning campaigns that you can get live, the bigger your scale is going to be. So again, horizontally scaling is something I deploy for all my agency clients, my coaching clients, and is one of the premier ways to scale beyond just upping your budgets. And the last thing I want to talk about under scaling methodology is timing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is doing the right things but at the wrong time. So say you've upped your budget and the first day after upping your budget, things are crushing it. Most people will just want to add budget right away, which again, this is the right move, but the wrong time to do it. You want to let your campaigns and the algorithm settle in at that new spend before doubling your budget again, or before adding your budget in again. And so this is a huge mistake people make, like I said, is doing the right things at the wrong time, scaling too fast, adding budget too quickly, right? Making these decisions too fast. The only times that jumping your budget that quickly can really make sense is when you have a promotion going on, or when it's Q4, when conversion rates have your back. These are the best times when you can continue to double your budget over and over again within short durations. However, this is not the majority of the time. So if you are looking to scale your brand quickly, be patient. Don't make the right moves at the wrong time. Don't scale too quickly. Have some patience. This is going to pay off in the long run. So just be patient, and I promise you it'll work out and you'll be scaling quickly in no time. And last, let's talk about performance preservation. You're like, Mason, I've doubled my budgets, or I've increased my budgets by 25%, or I've launched this new campaign, I'm trying to horizontally scale, but the performance isn't there. What do I do? Great question. So if you have added 25% or you have doubled your ad spend, and after the first day or 2 or 3 days after that budget increase, your campaign is not performing, what I do is jump the budget back to where it was before. So if you were spending $100 a day on a campaign and you jumped it to $200 a day, after 3 days it's not performing, jump it back to $100 a day. Campaigns have to, what I call, earn the ad spend. So if you gave it more budget, it didn't do well, and you take it back, and it's got to earn that ad spend back. So what do you do if that budget increase didn't work? Maybe it's the creative. Maybe the creative couldn't handle that scale, so you need to get more winning creative, or it was just a macro thing, or the environment just wasn't great that week, right? And so you want to wait a few days and then try it again if performance comes back. So again, this is the constant ebb and flow of scaling your campaigns. You're going to add budget, see if it takes hold. If it doesn't, you're going to bring it back. Then you're going to refresh creatives, or just wait a little bit, and then you're going to try again. And so you're constantly going up and down, up and down. And over time, your baseline ad spend will increase over time if you keep deploying this strategy. But don't give up. It's not going to work every single time you try to scale. And so you got to be patient, bump that budget. It doesn't work, bring it back, wait a few days, bump it again. A lot of times it'll work the second or third time around. And sometimes it just needs new creative as well, or needs more creative. Maybe if you only have one winning ad in that campaign, you need a few more winning ads to get that extra scale and be able to handle that extra budget. And the same thing goes with horizontally scaling. Say you launch a new static only campaign, it doesn't take hold. Well, maybe you need more winning static ads to make this work, right? Or maybe you launch it at too big of a budget to start, right? Maybe you launch it at $100 a day, it doesn't work. All right, drop it down to $50 a day, see if it can handle the ad spend at that level. So again, it's constantly an ebb and flow of a back and forth, and really figuring out how to make your campaign work at that level of spend. And then once you get it working, you try to bump that budget again. And another one of the biggest parts of performance preservation is creative refreshing. Like I mentioned earlier, you gotta be doing those emotionless inputs to produce those outputs of winning ads, right? And so it's important you are constantly refreshing, adding winning ads to your performance campaigns weekly. This is so important to scaling. You can't just scale to 10K a day with one ad. It might work for a short duration, but over time that ad will get fatigued. You need to give it multiple winning ads in that campaign for it to sustain big amounts of scale for a long duration. So again, it's so important. Always be testing. Like I mentioned, at least 2 ads per week, ideally 10 ads, 30 ads, 50 ads, depending on your ad spend. This is so important to maintaining scale. If you want to maintain 1K a day, 5K a day, 10K a day plus an ad spend, you have to have the creative to back that up, right? So it's so important that you are always refreshing your ads. And the last thing I want to mention about scaling preservation is you have to scale everything else as well. So you scaled your ad spend, you scaled your creative production, you also have to scale your retention. That means you're sending more email campaigns. If you're only sending 1 per day, now you send 2, 3, 4, 5 a week. Some of my biggest brands send 7 or 8 emails per week. Also SMS. Are you sending weekly SMS blasts? SMS is becoming one of the biggest levers to pull, as it has a 90% plus open rate. So if you're scaling your email, you're scaling your ads, you're scaling your ad spend, you gotta scale your SMS as well. And last is scaling your products and offers in collection. If you want to continue scaling, you have to be launching new products, have to be launching new collections, and have to be launching new offers on your site. You got to be doing sales for holidays, doing birthday sales, doing one-time flash sales, right? You got to keep things exciting so people continue to buy from you over and over again. This is monumentally important. You can't just scale your ad spend and your creatives. You have to scale your email, you have to scale your SMS, you have to scale the activities on your website as well to maintain this scale and continue scaling month over month, year over year. So there you have it. That's my scaling framework that works for brands at all levels of ad spend and will help you scale as profitably as possible. So at this point, you have 2 options. First option is apply this framework on your own, figure out how to scale on your own, how to pace your budgets, how to troubleshoot, all that good stuff. Again, it's not a bad route to take, but it's most likely going to take you longer than it has to. And you'll probably waste thousands of dollars in the process. And there's option number 2, joining my program Meta Ads at Scale, where I will personally guide you through my scaling framework specifically for your brand. I will help you avoid all the pitfalls that will most likely cost you thousands of dollars. And I will personally help you scale as profitably as possible in a fraction of the time that it would take you to scale on your own. So if you're ready to scale your brand as stress-free as possible, as profitably as possible, and in a fraction of the time you would be able to do it on your own, hit the link below and apply to my program Meta Ads at Scale. And we have one of the best guarantees in the game. If we cannot at least double your revenue profitably in 6 months or less while you're in the program, I will personally work with you for free until we get you there. So again, this program is risk-free. This is the best program in the world for e-commerce brands looking to scale with Meta Ads. So again, hit the link in the description, apply now, and I'll speak with you soon. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, just hit the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions on scaling, and I will see you guys in the next video.